Today, we're going to talk about a topic that is taboo in motherhood, and that is regret. That could be regret being a mother, regret of who you became a mother with. This is something that is can be daunting, can be, a complete guilt trip, okay? Because as a mom, you're supposed to be this nurturer, this person who's always caring, always cleaning, always looking good, always knowing what to say, always being this put together person and this image of the nurturer who, you know, this is who you go to when you have issues, when you have problems, when you're trying to figure life out. But what do you do when you don't even have things together? You don't have anything together. You're constantly trying to figure things out. You're stressed. You didn't even give your chance. You didn't even give yourself time to put yourself together, to learn, okay? To put God first, to know what your purpose is, to know who you are. Okay, you had the baby when you were a baby, and now you're still learning and still growing up while helping this other human being grow up. And it is such a challenge, and it is a part of the major pandemic. There's multiple pandemics going on, but besides C-19. And it's this thing where kids are, specifically young women, young women growing up, are learning about sex at an extremely early age, before they even know themselves, before they understand the purpose that God has given them. They're just getting introduced to complete trash, to things that they shouldn't even be getting introduced to at an early age. There was a music video with Ice Spice. She's a popular rapper right now, and there was a lot of backlash from certain people. Like, most people that are her fans, they wasn't backlashing, but about there being a 16-year-old, and mind you, she had just turned 16 in that video, and she was on the table on all fours in a sexually compromising position, something that shouldn't be, publicized, especially from a child, especially from a child. And that's what this society is going for. It's always been going for. This is Satan's plan, is to completely destroy the family dynamic. Because once you destroy, Adam and Eve, once you destroy their relationship, once you put strife, that's already, so many things that's going on in this world to separate the man and the woman. It's going to immediately impact the new generation, to the point where there's going to be generations that don't even exist, because there's women out here that don't want to have kids and men that don't want to get married. And it's just really sad, because it's creating a lot of stress, it's creating a lot of demise, it's creating pain. It's creating pain in motherhood and fatherhood, because there's both single mothers and fathers out here, but of course it's mostly the single moms, because we're the ones that carry the baby, we're the ones that have to face, the consequences of our decisions. And I'm not saying this to deter, women who are already on the fence about becoming a mother. No, it's more of to bring forth the conversation. Okay, the tough conversations that we are dealing with in these end times, which is the regrets. they push this 304 culture and this baby mom culture like it's something to be proud of. It's something to to bask in. It's something that you could wear as a crown on your head. And to be real, I hate the term. I absolutely hate the term. And I, from years and years ago, have had shame and pure regret for actually becoming a baby mom. It's just it's just sad to see this, and that's why I feel like it's so important to bring forth the conversation to the younger generation. You have moms that are literally hating on their daughters, which is completely backwards and doesn't make sense because that is your legacy. She is your legacy. And because of the pain or whatever the case is that they went through, whether it be needing attention, always needing attention, the Jezebel spirit, and having to constantly be on the front end of the attention spectrum or whatever the case is, and then in turn hating on your own daughter when you should be instilling certain values in her. Young women, girls alike, women, grown women need to understand that the 304 culture is poison, and what they're pushing out into the media is poisonous. The other day, I saw a clip of an 11-year-old who was pregnant. I didn't watch the video because it was like, what can you do? But I saw a picture and she had this a little 11-year-old face with the 11-year-old smile. You know the 11-year-old smile, but her stomach was impregnated. And it was just like, we need to be talking to our daughters. There's certain things that we have to do in this world in these end times that we really shouldn't have to be doing. To see a child lose their innocence so young, even younger than that, it's just like, especially if it's your own child, it almost feels like something was stolen from you. And I know I'm bouncing around right now, but this has to do with regret because you just miss your whole life. You miss your whole life. You miss your whole like you miss your understanding because being a mother is a completely selfless act. And being a father is a completely selfless act. And young men and young women aren't getting the proper training, especially growing up, young men growing up in single mother households and or being abandoned or being raised by the older generation who doesn't understand what's going on, as much on social media and the propaganda that's getting pushed out there. And then you have, certain mothers, like I said, who are jealous of their daughters or mothers who aren't grown themselves. So they're letting daughters do whatever they want. It's like too sex driven. The other day, I took my kids to the park and I really hope they weren't. But I saw these teenagers and it was a couple, and the girl, I mean, I feel like they were probably, you can't really tell ages nowadays that much, but I feel like they were probably like 15, 14 maybe. And it looked like, and we're in a public park, I'm trying not, I have peripherals, like, and I'm looking around. As a parent, you already know you looking around, but it looked like they were having sex. It's like everything is so focused on sex for these kids, like the cartoons, the movies. They're being exposed to things that you shouldn't even be exposed to. Like, and if are a millennial, you already know that you were exposed to things. Chances are, especially if you grew up in the hood, you're exposed to things at an early age that you should not be seeing, like, period. That you just shouldn't be seeing, and then, especially if you have parents who are foreign, it's like they don't understand nothing, or they're too busy working, so they're not even paying attention. It's it's just a lot to deal with growing up, trying to navigate this world, being introduced to something that's so adult, that's so mature, that you need to have certain understanding. That's why it's so important to value your virtue. Growing up, you're taught being a virgin is a bad thing. Like, I remember, growing up, and I remember hearing about the movie The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and you see this, nerdy guy who's just on the screen, who looks completely confused, and they paint him as a loser for not, for being a virgin, for not having sex. And it's like things like that, okay? Things like that are pushed, that being a virgin is that it's not a big deal, that you should get rid of it as fast as possible, and that's kinda how I was pushed. Like, God blessed me enough where, I had years to myself. I was very, like, to myself, quiet, but when the time came when I was older, because girls were around me were losing their virginity left and right. It was, like, normal, like, from forever ago. I'm talking even in elementary school. And even at the age that I lost my virginity was pretty old, pretty old compared to a lot of situations. And it was actually legal. Okay. It's just crazy because girls are losing their virginity before they even understand how to fully take care of themselves hygienically, if that's a word, like hygiene, having good hygiene. They're losing their virginity before they even understand themselves, before they even create a relationship with the Most High. Because having that wisdom, having that wisdom from God will set you on the right path, will put you in the right direction. He will guide you and protect you. And I was blessed enough where God still protected me, but I went through so much that he had to protect me from. Like, as far as, and he didn't have to, but that is just the grace and the glory of the Lord. But as far as actually caring and showing his love, like, listen, you're making the wrong decisions, but I'm here. And God is here for you, even if you've made plenty of bad decisions. I suggest you pump the brakes and start praying, pump the brakes and pick up your Bible, pump the brakes and talk to the Lord, because we have this opportunity. If you in a toxic relationship, if God is constantly telling you, no, 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 this person is not for you, especially, and it probably directly pertains to them being of the world, being of Satan. When I was 18, Satan sent someone to me, directly to me, gripped around my neck to steal, destroy, kill. And that's where we go to this thing is regret. Regret. And it's a taboo topic to talk about as a mom, because as a mother, you're constantly set up for guilt traps. It's like, if you feel this way, oh, you can't talk about this out loud, oh, you can't you can't put this out there because of the kids, because of the image. And it's never really about the kids. That's the crazy part. It's never really about the kids. It's about you. It's about your decisions. Because being a mother, it's like a constant stare down at yourself, certain habits, certain things that you were doing. It's brought to your attention, it's put to the forefront, and where you constantly have to reassess yourself. Being a mother, is being a mother 24/7, regardless of how you feel that day, regardless if you feel like giving up, regardless if you're angry, and whatever the case is, especially if you're a single mom, because now you're a mother, you're a father, you're a provider, and by that I mean you're providing. You're being the provider for the household on top of the disciplinary, on top of the teacher, on top of the chef, on top of the therapist, on top of the maid. You're doing so much, especially when they're younger. It can become so mentally draining and so mentally frustrating. And then on top of that, you have the world telling you that you're not allowed to feel any regret, that you're not allowed to feel. And if you do feel that pain, you have to keep it to yourself. You can't express it. There's no way to really escape it. I mean, you can escape as a mother. Definitely are plenty of parents who've given up, but the guilt, the overwhelming guilt that comes with it. And then, of course, you actually loving your kids and wanting to do anything for your kids. So it's never really about the kids. It is and it isn't. It's hard to explain sometimes. And what makes being a mother even more stressful, especially a single mother, is the fact that we're in a spiritual war, especially if you raising your children in the hood or ghetto or whatever the term is. It creates a lot of vibrational stress being around other people that aren't like-minded, being around people that don't understand what's really going on. It has an effect on you even if you are awake to what's going on, if you are understanding the situation at hand, that you're trying to protect your kids from all of the things that are going on, from all of the 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 consequences of not obeying God's commandments, trying to self from that at the same time dealing with all of the the calamities that are around you. It takes a toll on you. It takes a super toll on you. But to get on a more positive note, being a mother is a beautiful thing. It definitely does create diamonds because you have a lot of stress and pressure to create that diamond. It starts to make you appreciate things that you weren't really paying attention to before, that you were too focused on yourself to even notice. Like, can you imagine being excited for a bowel movement and how precious and how glorious that is, and how much of a blessing that is for your body to be able to take something in, take the nutrients out, and then spew out the bad, the things that aren't necessary, the things that aren't useful, being grateful that your little baby, that your infant just pooped, a sigh of relief from that. It makes you really appreciate life, appreciate things that you think are little but are major, that are paramount to success and thriving and living and creating relationship with the Lord and being able to understand and be coherent. It really makes you look at those things. But I say this to bring up the conversation, to bring up the topic that mothers need to care for their daughters, and that we need to understand what's going on, what playing field we're in, because we're we're in basically the Hunger Games, a spiritual war that's going on, and there are kids that are walking into it, getting introduced to sex early, getting introduced to or corn, getting introduced to these things, letting in demons, letting in bad spirits unknowingly, unbeknownst to them, and ruining parts of their lives. Yes, you learn from things. You can learn from things. I'm not saying that because you made these mistakes, because this happened or whatever the case is. But being a mother is irreversible. That is an irreversible decision. Whether you decide to continue parenting or not, you know that you gave birth, you know that you split the matrix, you know these things. There's so many more things that come with being a mother, especially in the end times, but that you can go on and on. But that basically wraps up this episode. If you feel alone as a parent, as a single parent, or you're in relationships, there's a lot of relationships out here where mom and dad feel alone and they're together. That's a whole nother topic. Go to God, go to Him. That's literally, He's our salvation, literally. Like, that's the only way. He is your best investment because it's not going to be easy, especially in these times. Even to be righteous and follow the narrow path is something that isn't easy. The book of Proverbs will tell you that. Read your Bible, even if it's a few scriptures a day. I know you're busy, but God, He He's so powerful. And the only thing that has gotten me through all these years, this past decade, has been Him. Regretting, being a mother, regretting who you became a mother with, these irreversible decisions need to be talked about. And I hope that you enjoyed the podcast. On this podcast, we will be talking and diving deeper into uncomfortable topics, into things that, people don't want to talk about in this world, in this society, dealing with parenting, dealing with the new generation, which is our future, right? But God bless you. Shalom.